So accountability, what the heck is it? Why does it matter? And why does it especially matter in these crazy times? So my guest today is Sam Silverstein. Sam is fantastic. He's dedicated to empowering people to live accountable lives, transform the way they do business, and create a more accountable world. He works with entrepreneurs, multinational companies, government agencies, and transform their cultures into great increased engagement, productive organizations that are more accountable. He's got lots of great books about accountability, No More Excuses, I'm Accountable, and an audio book that you can get for, get this, $10 called No Matter What, the 10 Commitments of Accountability. Now, sadly, I don't have any of my accountable books because I have them all in the office and I'm at home today, but instead I'm bringing you my pal, Sam, live. What's up, Sam? How are you, buddy?
I'm great, Phil. How are you today?
Good, good. So accountability. I think there is no better topic during these crazy times to talk about than accountability. But Sam, how do you define accountability and why does it matter so much to you, my friend?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like everything that we've been taught about accountability is wrong. And that's why we struggle with it, because we really don't understand what it is. But I define accountability very simply. It's keeping your commitments to people. That's it. We're responsible for things, but we are accountable to people. So, we're responsible to get the report done. We're responsible to finish the project. We're responsible to take out the trash. But I'm accountable to you and you're accountable to me. Accountability is between people. It involves a relationship.
Good. Good. Well, that matters to me because I'm all about relationships. That's super important to me. And I think about that, especially now. If I was just going to say, I'm going to be accountable to Vector Solutions, okay, well, these times kind of suck and it's company, so that's fine. But if I flip that and I say, no, I'm accountable to each of people on my team. I'm accountable to my leader. I'm accountable to the board of directors. I'm accountable to all the customers that we serve. I'm going to be much more motivated to do that because I can see their faces and I can see those firefighters, those police officers, those architects, those engineers, those construction workers, my boss, Dave Brown, right? I can see those people. And I think that really changes the game. Is that why that's so important, Sam? Or tell me more about that.
Well, you're scratching on the surface of it. I think you're absolutely in the right direction. Here's the thing. When I say accountability is keeping your commitments to people, so there's people, there's a relationship involved. And then the question is, what's a commitment? And so I define a commitment as no matter what. No matter what. That's it, period. You can take it to the bank. You can count on it. It's not a maybe. It's not a kinda. It's not a if nothing better comes along. It's no matter what. And then there's two types of commitments. There's tactical commitments and relational commitments. And so the tactical commitment, I'll be here at 10:30. I'll get the report done. Those are in business settings. Those are your job. That's your job. If you're not doing your job, you should be fired. Your job description is nothing more than a list of tactical commitments. But when I talk about true accountability, it's about the relational commitments. It's a commitment to live the values. It's a commitment to the truth. It's a commitment to stand by you when all hell breaks loose. When people keep those sorts of commitments to each other, then what happens is you deepen the relationships, you create more meaningful relationships. And then in that scenario, I would rather die than let you down. And when I'm at that point, I'm probably going to be living an accountable life between me and you, and hopefully between me and others in the world around me.
Wow. That is much stronger than just, yep, I'm going to get
it just keeps going deeper, Phil. It's it just keeps going deeper. That's why I start off by saying everything we've been taught about accountability is wrong, because we hear people think accountability is punitive. Oh, it's standing up. I'm in trouble. It was my fault. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. No, that's being honest. That's your responsibility. Do that. That's not what accountability is. Accountability is proactive, and it's positive because it's about contributing to your relationships through these relational commitments, these serious commitments. It's like you hear people say, I'm going to hold her accountable, or I'm going to hold him accountable. No, it doesn't work that way. When you hold someone accountable, that's like this. That's like putting a gun to their head. Nobody wants to be held accountable. But what happens as a leader in an organization when you help someone be accountable? When you help them be accountable, that's coming alongside. That's putting your arm around their shoulder and saying, I'm here for you. And when you do that, it's a different kind of relationship. And when you create a different kind of relationship, you get a different kind of result.
Wow. Absolutely. So, Sam, how did you get started in this, man? Because you've now written some million books on this, or quite a few anyway. I know I'm stretching a million, but
the 9th one is due to come out later this year. And actually, just before we got on the phone, I'm working on, started the process of number 10. My publisher has a date, and we're off and running on number 10. How did I get started? Wow. A long time ago, I had a manufacturing business. This is one of the businesses that I was involved in, and I was a partner in a manufacturing business. We made windows and doors, and over time, a lot of people were coming up to me and thanking me for the advice that I was giving them. And quite honestly, I didn't remember having that conversation in the first place. And one day it really hit me that I was having a positive impact on people's lives. And I thought, if I can have a positive impact on someone's life without trying, what would happen if I actually tried? And that was the genesis for me. And I sat down and I wrote my first book, which is titled The Success Model. It's since been updated and re-released by my publisher. And then I started speaking and continue to write to share my message, and then started working with leaders and organizations to help them actually develop their culture so that they can build their culture around this, build a culture that inspires accountability. But Phil, I was all over the place. You know, I because of my background in business, both on the management side and as well as on sales and production and all that stuff and marketing. And, I was doing everything. And finally, I sort of had a collar shake moment where I realized I had to fine tune what it was that I was doing so that people would understand what my message truly was. And I realized at that point, it all came down to accountability. And that's when I wrote No More Excuses. And since that point in time, I've literally had a set of blinders on, and I see everything through the lens of accountability. And so whether it's leadership, whether it's driving change in an organization, whether it's creating highly engaged employees, attracting and retention of the best employees, or even actually creating a system for client satisfaction, customer service, client experience, it all goes through accountability. It all goes through the culture. And we've actually figured out how to tie it all together.
Wow. So how does that work in sales, Sam? Because a lot of my folks are sales professionals, right? And they say, well, I'm accountable to my number, right? I've got a quota, and my quota this year is $1 million. And so I'm accountable to that. But there's more than that, because you talked about, that's nice. Well,
they're not accountable to that. They're responsible for that.
Okay.
That's a responsibility. The accountability lies between them and their coworkers, whether it's the person that they report to or the person that's sitting next to them. And so here's how if I'm talking to a sales group, I would look at several things and talk about several things. One, all of us have a role in the culture of our organization. We all have a part in maintaining that culture. All organizations have a culture. It's either a culture by design or a culture by default. That's a whole nother conversation. We can go there later if you want, Phil. We can do it another day. But as far as sales team goes, so they're responsible for their role in the culture. But I think there's three critical things that someone in sales should be focused on. And I think it's something that all of us need to be acutely aware of, because it's really going to drive our actions. The first is, what is it? I call it the three big questions. And this is going to be a central point in my next book, because I feel like this is the missing link, what people are looking for. The first question is, what do you value? We have to really know what it is that we value. We need to know what our values are, because it's our values that connect us. You and I aren't connected, Phil, because we love to speak, that we love to impact people's businesses, that we love to, that it's not what we do that connects us. You and I are connected through our values. It's a much deeper, more meaningful connection. People believe different things, but even if we believe something different, we can be connected through our values. So it's critical to know what those values are in an organization. There's a set of organizational values. We must be living those values in tough times like we're facing right now. It's the organizations that have clear values that are understood and that every decision is connected to, that are going to thrive, that are going to stay in existence in tough times, but not only that, position themselves to accelerate coming out of tough times. As a salesperson, when you're living those values, then what happens is people see that and they're naturally attracted to you. The next thing that I would tell someone in sales is, first question is, do you know what you value? The next question is, what do you focus on? So what do you value? What do you focus on? And that's really important because we really have two choices here. We can focus on what we can control, or we can focus on what we can't control. If we focus on what we cannot control, then what happens is we end up making excuses and we just spin and we go nowhere. When we focus on what we can control, we make decisions and we get results. So, can I control what's going on in the health situation? Well, not in the big picture. No, I can't control that. Can I control what's happening in the economy? Nope, can't control that either. I can control my reaction to it. I can control my actions. I can control the steps that I take. I can control whether or not I expose myself and my family to unnecessary risk. These are all things that I can control. And when I own what I can control, I make decisions and I get results. And the third area that I would want someone in sales to focus on is what are your commitments? So it's what do you value? What do you focus on? What are you committed to? And those commitments, I'm not talking about tactical commitments. I'm talking about relational commitments. One of those commitments is a commitment to the values. Another is a commitment to my word is my bond. Another relational commitment is a commitment to a good reputation, a commitment to good financial decisions, a commitment to it's all of us, that if you fail, I fail. If you succeed, I succeed. A commitment to stand by you when all hell breaks loose. These are the types of commitments that when we make, not only in our personal lives, to our family and our friends and our community, but as sales professionals, when we make those commitments inside our organization, we build accountability. But when we make those commitments to our clients and they know that we make those commitments, and remember, Phil, a commitment is no matter what. When they feel that, you build a bond. And while business may be tough now, what happens is when we come out of these times, you will accelerate at a much more rapid pace than what the competition is accelerating at, because you will have created that bond. You will be creating that relationship. That is what will drive your business moving forward.
Wow. What do you value? Got to be clear on that. Organizationally, personally, got to focus on that, right? Then
Absolutely.
What do you focus on, which is internal locus of control? What do I control? What can I take care of? And frankly, ignoring that which you can't. And then third, what are your commitments? Not to yourself, to your team, to your customers, to your world. That's great.
Relational commitments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And I love that you said that reminder that a commitment is no matter what. So no matter what happens, you're going to maintain that commitment. You're going to maintain that. That sounds a lot like integrity, right? That you're a person of integrity. Do those go hand in hand, Sam?
Well, that's definitely that's definitely there. And it's interesting. We work with a lot of organizations and we help them either take their value set and get it established in the organization, or refine their value set and get it established, or actually create a set of values from scratch. And the one value that we see that shows up all the time, I mean like 95% of the time, is integrity. And so that's a pretty big word, but a lot of times we don't know what that means or what it means here, and defining it is critical. So integrity really is at the basis. It's one of those words that it's real easy for us to use, but it's difficult to live. But man, when you're around when you're around someone that's of high integrity, does that attract you or does that repel you?
Yeah, well, absolutely attracted. It's a person that I want to be with because I know what you say is what you do, and what you do is what you say. And sometimes you fail, but it means that then you say, you know what? I screwed up. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Here's how I'm going to move forward, like a bicycle wheel, right? If it's broken, you got to fix it.
Well, that's it. If you make a mistake, fix it and fix it fast. We're not perfect, okay? I struggle. I have a set of values. I work to live those values myself, in my life, with my family, in my community, with my business and clients. And sometimes I make a decision, and then maybe one of my accountability partners, could be my wife. Renee, she'll say, that really doesn't align with what you say you believe and value. And I go, wow, I missed that. I missed it. Let's fix it right now. And I don't care what I'm doing. I want to fix it now. And so when that happens, we do need to fix it and fix it fast. And when people see that, they realize that you are a person of integrity, that your word means something. They can count on you. And that goes towards that relationship, and it goes towards accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. And really that then leads to results. So a lot of folks, right, they're talking about results, and that's important, right? You're in sales, you have quote attainment, but really that I would say that accountability is a lead indicator, not a lag indicator, right? If you're an accountable person, if you know your values, if you know what you focus on, you know your commitments, and you really lock into that, you're going to be further ahead than the person that just focuses on quota attainment. You think so, or am I out to lunch
absolutely here? So here's the thing. You cannot mandate accountability. You can't walk into someone's office and say, doggone it, you're going to be accountable. That's the way that it is. Get your stuff done. Well, first of all, you're attaching accountability, which is a relational issue, to a tactical situation. So right away, we've got that wrong. It doesn't work that way. Accountability is inspired. It has to flow from the leader first. Accountability is given first. You inspire it in the people around you, and then they're going to want to be accountable. Well, all of our studies have done, and we have a cultural survey where we actually measure accountability in an organizational culture. We've been doing this. That survey alone, that assessment tool, is 12 years old. It's in 20 languages, and we have a lot of experience with it. And we see this all the time. Cultures that inspire accountability are also cultures that inspire creativity, innovation, change, greater customer service. Ultimately, it also inspires you. We see in those same cultures, we see much better internal communication. And as you know, siloed communication is the number one problem that businesses face internally. When you have greater communication, you have better teamwork. You have more highly engaged employees. You have greater productivity. And ultimately, that goes to the bottom line in profitability. Accountability is not a short-term situation. Accountability is a long-term concept. If you're looking to maximize results today and this week, go into the factory with a whip and beat your people. That's how you'll get the quickest results, and burn them out. They'll all quit and you're done. But if you build accountable relationships, if you do what it takes as a leader to build accountability from you, from us first as leaders to the people, we're making long-term decisions. We're taking long-term actions. We're building long-term relationships. And I see this over and over and over again. These organizations way outstrip the competition on the bottom line. Now, you do not have to be highly accountable to make a profit. You can build a successful business and you can be kind of mediocre. But the reality is, if you want to set the curve, then what happens is accountability is the only thing that's going to get you there. It is the only thing that'll differentiate you from your competition, because products and services today are pretty abundant. Let me give you an example. There's a builder out in West Texas called Beaton Bow Homes. And I've gotten to know these people over a period of time. They're in 4 markets out there. They build homes. And unemployment out there, up until this point has been basically zero. And so finding someone to come work for them, you would think is very difficult. Yet when they run an ad for an open position, they get between 40 and 100 applicants. 40 and 100. And it's totally amazing. Now, when you get that type of response because people want to come to work for you, it means you're attracting the best and you're retaining the best. And if your organization has the best people, the best carpenters, best in construction, best in planning, best in purchasing, best in marketing, best in sales, you are going to win. You're going to have the best organization. And the reason they attract all these people is because accountability is incredibly high in this organization. It flows from leadership to the people. And because of that, it flows from the people back to leadership.
Wow. Well, that's an organization that a lot of people want to work for, especially in these challenging times, right? We see that people want more accountability, that relational accountability that you talk about, being accountable to those that we serve and those that we're with. But Sam, if we're going to get started personally being accountable, where do we start? What's the best place to start? And which one of your books should we get first so that we can get started along this path?
I guess all of them is not an appropriate answer, is
Probably
it?
not, no.
Okay. I think one of the best places to start is with my most recent, I Am Accountable, because what it does is it really does look at accountability starting from the individual basis, builds it up from individual, then it looks at it organizationally, and then it looks at it in the community in the broader sense, building a more accountable world, because that's what my mission is to build a more accountable world. And so I would start with that and getting a greater understanding of what accountability really is, and then also gaining understanding about what your values are, because I step you through that in there individually and organizationally. Without a full understanding of what your values are and the power that lies in your values so you can make all your decisions based on your values, it's going to be difficult to build an accountable foundation. So that book's going to step you through that, both individually and organizationally.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Get a copy of I Am Accountable. If you want to know more about Sam, check him out at samsilverstein.com. You can see that there, and you can learn from Sam. He is definitely an accountable guy. He's a great friend, and I'm glad that he was able to share some stuff with us, Sam. Anywhere that you'd want people to go if they want to have a deeper conversation besides your website, you got a favorite social media network or a place where they can go?
I love to get connected on most social media. I mean, you can reach out to me on Instagram for sure. LinkedIn is where, I'm there a lot, and it's under Sam Silverstein. And I've got hundreds of videos on YouTube under Sam Silverstein, which those YouTubes you can enjoy individually for yourself. But if you want to use them as conversation starters in an organization, please do that. And send me messages, communicate with me any way that I can be of service, especially in times like this. I'd love to be able to provide ideas that'll make a difference for you and help you maintain both individually and organizationally what you're trying to achieve for yourself.
Awesome. Sam, thanks so much for spending some time with us today about being accountable. You are the master, my friend. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful that you taught us today about accountability. Such important stuff here. My friend, Sam Silverstein, the man, the myth, the legend about accountability. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I do value you, and I value what you provide to everyone out there. It's really critical.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.